The Monster Hunter Wilds beta was available on Steam on PC for the past couple of days, and let's just say there were some issues. I managed to play for about 9 hours, hunt every monster available, and I tried out 5 different weapons and many more features. Needless to say, there will be a lot of changes with Wilds, and today I will cover them and give some of my thoughts. This game will come out February 27th, 2025, and cost $70 with some more premium options. You will also be able to pre-order. Let's start by going over the monsters. I won't go over every new monster we talk about, but I think we all expect a bunch of cool new monsters, so let's let them be a novelty. There were 4 monsters in the beta. The Chotacabra, a big toad man, fun to fight, pretty easy, another monster that gets a little too freaky with its tongue. The Balahara, a big sandworm. He works in packs and interacts with the environment quite a lot and can create a little sand trap and climb on objects. Doshiguma is a monkey, dog, bear, mammoth thing. It is a pack monster with an alpha monster leading the pack. This guy's a little more challenging than he seems. Next is Ray Dao, the final boss of the beta. He's an electrical dragon, he vibes off the weather, very fun and long fight, and he reminds me of the quote about how the closer a monster is to a typical dragon, the stronger it is in Monster Hunter games. Larger, tougher monsters like Ray Dao actually have their own monster's nest, which is a little lair that gives them a home turf advantage of some kind. Next, there will be some slight changes to a lot of weapons. However, no new weapons are added. I will leave it up to you to figure out the details of your weapon of choice. However, many weapons have been updated and tweaked, so make sure you check it out. The biggest change about weapons in general is that you can now carry 2 of them, and switch weapons even mid-fight on your Seikret. Because of this, weapons will have their own skills attached to them. They've now added a new system for weakening and damaging monsters called wounds, and the focus system. Focus mode is something that allows players to aim their character at a certain direction, giving more control of landing your attacks. It also highlights wounds and allows you to do a special attack, damaging said wound. At first I thought I would miss tenderizing, but this may be better overall. You can damage multiple wounds at once to go into some sort of wound destruction mode and get extra damage. I have to say, it seems like the focus system is sort of a weird way to get around aiming your character. One of the more clunky and annoying factors of Monster Hunter is simply facing the right way when a monster is moving around you. Sometimes longer attack animations lock you into the wrong direction and become wasted attacks. Focus mode directly addresses this and plays into the wound system. It's kind of a band-aid fix, but it works well and it may be well thought out. Overall, it's a good change and it's a fun dynamic actually. The next big change is the Seikret, which is your mount/walking battle station. The Seikret is a bird mount that you can ride around the map, switch weapons on, and it even has a pouch for extra goodies. This feature is very similar to Palamutes in Monster Hunter Rise. They will be customizable as well, which I look forward to. This was a feature that I was a bit torn on. I was hoping for a completely free riding mount, which it is. However, the Seikrets have an automatic monster tracking feature, which never really feels like it gets turned off. You can hit tab to stop the auto tracking feature, but it tends to feel like you were on rails. This thing takes off like a bat out of hell sometimes too. Overall, I think it's a good thing. Being able to kick back and let autopilot track the monsters down is nice. You can sharpen, eat, use your slinger, and switch weapons on these guys. They feel like a rolling safe space, mounting them in battle. However, when you're fighting monsters, they're just standing around and can get hit on accident, which feels awful. It also seems like the Seikret actually has to run towards you and then get close to mount, instead of the mounting process just sort of happening. Again, it's more realistic, but sometimes the Seikret seems to take its sweet time. I'm glad to have these burbs, but they get on my nerves. Playing with other people will have several changes as well. For starters, lobbies can hold up to 100 people in them compared to 16 in World. There are talks about larger parties, maybe some larger monster interactions, but it looks like the party size will remain at 4. Grouping up is a lot more seamless. You can start and join quests in the open world a lot easier. I also look forward to crossplay being added, allowing players from all platforms to play together. I hope the game feels a lot more communal. The large open world will be filled to the brim with all kinds of details and environmental activities. There will be weather phenomena such as sandstorms, lightning strikes, torrential downpours, and more. The time of day will be changing as well, and the night sky even has some celestial activity to observe. Endemic life will also be more full of life, and this will be adding to that immersive feeling. There are so many little changes being made as well. Here are some rapid fire. Palicos can now use human voices. Gross.
My fur isn't built for this kind of weather.
Fishing is cooler, bigger, and better. Slinger paint pods return as a way of pinging things, and a few more new pod types will be out there. Slingers can now interact with the environment and objects to collect them. Group skills are set bonuses that will allow players to get additional benefits from sets from the same monster. Weapons will have their own skills tied to them, so you can have skills for both weapons. You can now toggle your helmet appearance on and off. Layered armor can be obtained midway through the game instead of an endgame feature. Barrel bombs function a bit differently and can be rolled into each other or into a monster. Weapons that block can do what's called a power clash, as a way to clash/meet with monsters as a counter. There are also offset attacks as a way of countering monsters on certain weapons. Sharpening weapons will happen incrementally, so if you stop early, it will sharpen a little bit. A crazy feature will be the SOS flare. It works similarly to how it did in the past, however there will be an option to allow NPC hunters to come in and give a helping hand. It sounds like the AI is pretty good on them as well, and they will be pretty useful. Setting up a pop-up camp is a feature that I'm a bit torn about. We now have the option to find predetermined spots on the map and set up a camp. Doing so requires a camp spot and some points. Monsters can find the camp and destroy it. This feature was something that I thought was going to be very cool, but after trying it, it kinda seems like a weird, pointless change. It may be necessary to have a system where a player can continuously set up a new base and keep a nomadic lifestyle in the open world, but monsters can attack your camps, and they do, fairly often. It seems like a huge risk to rely on a camp when it may get destroyed in the middle of a fight. Unlocking fixed spots around the map didn't seem that bad, but maybe in time I will see why this feature is good. Overall, I'm very excited for this game. I have to say a few features, specifically the pop-up camp and Seikret, didn't fully live up to my expectations, but they are both nice features that I welcome. One criticism of Monster Hunter in general I've been having is a lack of intuition. This game is genuinely challenging, which is a great thing, but some of the UI and the way the game is set up can be a bit confusing for newer players, or at least it was for me. I was hoping with crossplay, larger lobbies, and a more seamless experience, this game might be a bit more noob-friendly, but now I'm not so sure. The seamlessness means that people rely more on menus and NPCs for any kind of structure, and it may remain confusing. I think it will be a fine game for anyone to get into. Maybe I'm just projecting things I want to see, but it's mainly because I do want to see a lot of new players join this game so we can share the monster hunting love. I actually really like the wound system. It's like a better thought out tenderizing system that feels very satisfying. I think focus mode and some of the newer combat features are going to make combat a bit more fluid and less frustrating. I think this game drew a lot from both World and Rise. The art style definitely seems to be more similar to Rise, and the Seikret definitely feels like a Palamute in several ways. The story looks like it will have a pretty emotional tone, and a lot of the cutscenes have been very tender. I think this is an interesting dynamic and perspective that seems to feel different than previous games, at least from what I've seen, and even though I'm not a big story person, I am intrigued. I ran into some issues in the beta. The elephant in the room is the graphics and optimization. During the beta, a bunch of PC players experienced what I am now calling polygoning, in which the details and shapes of some monsters and NPCs didn't fully load, and they looked like blobby shapes with very little detail. This did happen to me. My PC has a 9700K i7, 32 gigabytes of RAM, and a 2080 Ti with 11 gigabytes of VRAM. They have already addressed this specific issue, saying it's been resolved as the beta went on. I also saw a lot of unloaded and unfinished textures. The game also managed to blue screen my PC. I trust that this issue will be resolved by release. They still have a few months to perfect it, but it certainly made a lot of people nervous about whether or not their system will be able to handle this game. There's a big debate on how accessible games should be as far as system hardware goes, not to mention a lot of people are playing this game on console. Regardless, it made for some good laughs, and I have faith it will all be good by launch. I also saw a video of a monster straight up freeze, and I personally experienced some glitches in the music player where the music would suddenly just cut out. Pretty jarring. I think this game makes a lot of fantastic changes and looks like loads of fun. I think there will be some strong features I will truly enjoy. I can't wait to see some new monsters too. Although I couldn't go over every single little detail, I like to leave some of the novelty for when you play. Although this game did follow suit with the gaming industry and is charging $70 for the game, I'm sure a lot of veteran Monster Hunters won't really think twice about it. This game still carries all of its Monster Hunter DNA and will more than likely be another fantastic installment of the franchise with the potential to be the best one yet. Thank you so much for watching my thoughts on Wilds, and happy hunting! Don't forget to like and subscribe for more gaming videos, and I will see you later, gamers.